I'm going to show you how to do some of the basics with Canvas. When you first set up a Canvas site, which I have done here, this is what it looks like initially. Now before we even get started, there are a couple of things that I want to show you. Notice that if you click on these three lines here, it makes the sidebar go away, which gives you more space here. The other thing is you'll notice that on the right hand side there's this sort of third column. If my Canvas page is too narrow, you notice I narrowed it, you think, well, it went away, but actually what happens is if your page is set narrowly, the right hand column actually appears below the page than rather to the side, and it's easier to have it on the side. So next thing, let's start by creating a new module, and I'm going to call this module, just for now, practice, or you can call it junk, because you know that it's not something that you necessarily will use later. So now that main page changes to practice rather than to create a new model, and we can start adding things. Now Canvas defaults to having certain pages that are set that are visible to students, and also it has a home page. If I click on home, you will notice that the home page defaults to what is actually the modules view. There's nothing, the modules is grayed out for the moment, but we're in the modules view. And so what I like to do is to actually create a home page. So what I'm going to do is under this section here, I'm going to click plus, and I'm going to create a new page. And I'm going to call that page home page, which is different to home so I don't get confused. And I'm going to add that. Now, once I have created this page, what I have to do is I have to publish this page. It's not published yet, but if I click on this little dot here, it publishes it. Now I go to click on it and open it. There's nothing on it because I haven't put anything on it yet, but notice that it is published. Once it is published, I can click on these three dots to the right of the page and say use as front page. Now what I can do is I can make the page that I called home page the page that the Canvas will go to when you click on home. To do that, in the modules view, I'm going to click on the right here where it says choose home page. Currently you'll see that the home page is actually set by default to course modules, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here to make this the front page, the one that I called home page, and I'm going to save. Let's go in and put something on this page so that we can see how this works. So the first thing I like to do is to type welcome to our course, the course name page, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on the three lines there so I have more real estate. Now it's important right from the beginning of creating pages that you use the accessibility features so that your pages are accessible to students. So this is set as a paragraph. I'm going to choose to make it a heading level 2. And so I say welcome to the course, and then you can put information, sort of instructor contact info, and we'll fill in more information there. So for now, let's just go ahead and save that. I made a typo there, but anyway, we'll fix it. Now let's see what happened because I set the home page. This should be, when I click on home page, should be what shows up. Let's try it. So if I click home, there it takes us to the page that we've set as the home page rather than to the modules. Next, let's go and look at the settings. So on the left hand side here, we're going to go all the way down to the bottom and click settings. And when you go to settings, it defaults to going to course details, which you can review. You can actually set the starting date of your course or not. And right now it's private. I actually often set mine to be close to Creative Commons non-commercial share alike. But for now, I wouldn't do anything with it if I were you. You can then and I'm always going to update the course details if you change something, right? So now I'm going to go to the sections. This is where you can add sections, but so you have different sections of the course. We don't usually use that. So let's go to navigation. Now navigation, it says drag and drop items to reorder them in the course navigation. So you can change the order of things. You can also change what students can see. So for example, if I want grades to be the second item that students see, maybe I want students to be able to see the syllabus, whatever you would like students to see first. The other thing that you can do is the items that you don't want students to see, you can move down to the bottom. And my suggestion is that you move almost everything down until you're sure if you're going to use it, so that you don't confuse the students with all sorts of things that they don't want to or need to see. So I tend to move almost everything down. Now, one thing that I do is see if there's anything here that I do want, and I'm scrolling through the list here. I think that's probably all. Home, grades, syllabus announcement, people, and modules. So I'm going to say save. And now you can see these are the things that are not grayed out, are the things that students can see. There isn't anything in the modules yet, or announcements, so that's not showing up. So let's go back then to the home page here, and you notice now, because I gave Creative Commons share alike, that is actually showing up on the home page. Also, what you notice here is that the course is not yet published, so students can't see it. Now I want to be starting to add some things. So I'm going to click on modules, which I can see as the instructor. We have a home page. And this is where you can start to add different kinds of items. And what I'd like you to do is to try adding, you'll see all these different things. So let's use most of these first ones just for practice. And so you'll start by adding, say, an external URL. It wants to know what is the URL. And so you can find a page. Let's go to, I'm going to actually go for the UMD homepage, for example. And so I'm going to copy that URL, and I'm going to come back into Canvas, and I'm going to paste the URL and say UMD homepage. And you can choose to indent or not. That'll come later. So for now, not indenting. And so I've added a UMD homepage. It's grayed because it's not published yet, so let's publish that. Let's try adding another one. We're going to add this time a page. And I'm going to click where it says new page, and I'm going to call this for now junk page because it doesn't mean anything. And click add item. There is the junk page. If I want to put something on it, I click on it and I edit it. And when I'm playing around with things to see what they do, what I tend to do is say this is a page. Then when I save it, and I can see what it is that I did. All right, so let's go back to the modules again, and let's publish that one. And now I'm going to add an assignment, and I'm going to call that a junk assignment. And add the item, click on it to edit it, and there's no content, so I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to say this is an assignment, and this is where I would type assignment directions. You can then decide if you want to make it worth points, and if so, how many. Canvas likes it to be worth a point. You can make assignment groups. So for example, I might have a contract group, and I'm going to add it to the A contract. I'm going to display. You can decide what you want to display it as. I'm going to say complete or incomplete. You have to choose how students will submit their assignment. So are they going to upload a paper? Is it going to be online, some external tool? So let's say it's going to be online. If I choose online, then it wants to know, is it going to be a text entry? Are they going to enter a URL, a media recording, or upload a file? If I want students to just type the text inside Canvas, I'll choose text entry. And I can assign to everyone or to individual students. I can also set when it's going to be due. So say I want this assignment to be due on February 11th at 11 a.m. I'll say done, and then I save. What I can also do is I can add a rubric to this assignment, and we'll do more of that later, but this is where you would add a rubric. So let's go back to the modules and see what we have here. So I can publish this. The course isn't published, but I can make it visible. And if I want to add another assignment, you can add a quiz, you can upload a file, pages, discussions, and so on. So you continue to experiment with each of these and come to class prepared to share what you did in creating these, as well as problems or questions that arose as you did it.